Hey everyone, Dan here. We are just after market close on Wednesday, June 9th. Today we're going to do our daily updated look at SoFi, at least for the time being. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And let's jump right in. So yesterday, this huge run up at close, sort of a lot of speculation, what's going on, what's happening, why is the stock price jumping up, it's the short squeeze kicking off, and then another run at 25, actually got over 25, couldn't keep support, fell back down during the pre-market hours, held really well, and then just sold off during at the beginning of the market day, and recovered a little bit at that 2361 support zone that we had identified earlier, and then turned that into resistance here at about 130, and then just sold off to our next support zone of 2263. So the only good news in all of this is that the chart is holding up really well. The support and resistance zones are still playing out as expected. So that gives me confidence that the rest of this is still really valid, including that 2506 support that we absolutely need to shake out a bunch of the shorts. I think that's when we would really see something substantial kick off, and so that's what I'm going to be looking for still in the days ahead. I didn't make any changes to my positions today, just as sort of like full disclosure. But it definitely was a more challenging one. We definitely haven't formed anything like a down channel or anything like that, and truly still the biggest surprise that we've had in the last week or so was this giant run up yesterday, and so today could basically be chalked up to just a bunch of people taking profits when they saw that the price didn't continue to skyrocket over 25, for example. I could see that sort of just causing a bunch of people to be like, okay, there was that big fluke of a run up at the end of the day yesterday, and so I'm just going to take that as a signal to lock in this profit and move on, or wait for a dip buy in SoFi, something like that. So I kind of think more than anything, that's probably what happened here. If we look at the volume, here's our highest ratio was at that 2360. So a lot of buying pressure coming in at 2360, which is right. Let me just put a little box there. 2360 is right where our price zone is. So right here, bunch of buying pressure. And as you see, it kept sort of trying to make a run up at 24 as it got over that. But it just couldn't do anything over and above. Also a bunch of buying pressure at that 23.94. That's where it's trying to get itself over that $24 mark. And even at $24, significantly more buying pressure than selling pressure. But what do we see as we get over 24? Gotta scroll down here a bit. I don't know if my old eyes just aren't seeing it. Maybe you are yelling at your screen right now. You're rolling by a bunch of them. I don't know. I'm not seeing the 24s are down. This would be a boring video for me to just keep scrolling. I mean, here's one, 24.11. You see, four times the selling pressure as the buying pressure. Not a ton of volume at all at that point. Here, 13x or so, 10x, 13x, the sell volume over 24. So there's clearly a bunch of sells that are either triggered or already preset as like a take profit zone. Probably because a lot of folks, a lot of institutions, or whomever it is, sort of seeing that SoFi is having such a hard time getting up and over that 25 in a way that establishes it there as a floor from which to push itself toward 27, 28, 30. I suppose there's probably a lot of kind of mid to low 24 take profit orders sitting in there waiting to get consumed. The good thing that I would say is the more that we keep running at it and running just over 24, and consuming those cells, eventually they will sort of run out, and there won't be that wall of selling pressure there anymore, and there will be a path back to test 25 again. So the more that the stock price can keep pushing up, and even if it gets rejected off that 24 over and over and over again, the fact that it's making a run up there and consuming that sell pressure is the first thing that has to happen before you can overcome that selling pressure. And I feel like I'm having like a weird whistle on my S's today. But so it goes. Let's take a look at the data. Here's what the day looked like. And this is sort of another reason why I think this wasn't kind of much that happened because of short sellers coming in, but I will caveat that in a minute. But look here, there was only 6,000 shares available left to borrow from Interactive Brokers at close of the day yesterday. We opened up with a bunch of folks having returned shares over nearly 650,000, nearly the entire bucket that they have there. But then there was just nothing that happened throughout the day. And for whatever reason, this cut at 315, but we'll see when it decides that it's able to consume the data. We'll see what it comes back with here. But so to me, that basically says like this selling off and then waffling and then late day sell off probably was not caused by a bunch of shorts coming into the market, unless, and here's my caveat, Interactive Brokers was kind of an outlier today, and there was a bunch of shares flooding the market from other brokerages or other broker dealers, and we're just not seeing it because this feed comes from Interactive Brokers. But that could be the case, but we don't have any way to prove that now, so we might as well go with the most likely scenario, which is, it was relatively standard across different brokers what happened today, and this is why I really think it was folks seeing that, the 24-ish price zone, all of those sell triggers were getting hit, and the price kept kind of getting pushed off of there. I kind of think it just spooked folks out. They were happy that this happened yesterday, and that they even got an opportunity to sell up here, and they didn't have to sell way down here or even under 20. So I kind of think that that's what happened more than anything, to be honest. I don't think much of this changes any of the story that we've been seeing unfold around the short selling situation. Short volume ratio, I had said in yesterday's video, I would expect it to be higher yesterday than it was the day before. We do see that. It's about almost 2 clicks higher, even with the big increase in volume, well over double the volume, brought in well over double the short volume, and brought us up a couple of clicks there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but tomorrow I almost wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a pullback back into the lower 20s on that short volume ratio, again, unless that'll be what helps to show us if Interactive Brokers was just kind of an outlier. Still sitting here about 40% of the float being shorted. This is data that we're still waiting to get refreshed to be data from the end of May, not mid-May. That'll be sort of the next most important thing as far as I'm concerned. All right, well, I hope you're hanging in there okay. SoFi is doing well after hours at the moment, so that 2263 holding up really well. I'll zoom out for a moment so you can see a bit more of the chart if you don't have it saved somewhere. But this chart has been holding up really well. These zones have been showing to be really, interactive supply and demand zones or support and resistance areas. So I would keep referencing this chart if you're looking for areas to be looking for the stock price to show some strength, areas where it might get pushed down from, and then to see how it reacts from the next price zone below that, and so on and so forth. But good luck if you're in this one. I'm just itching to get the up-to-date short data. I'm really waiting for that, and I want to see when the SEC comes through and publishes the second half of May, fails to deliver data. I'm really interested to see what that looks like, to see if there's potentially naked shorting entering the market. Since SoFi has such a large percent of its float being shorted, it could be very, very low availability across the board, and so maybe that is intentionally or unintentionally causing some folks to naked short sell, which would put us into sort of like another category. But we'll talk about that if and when we get there. But thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.